let you know that we matter.
Brown people have been pushed by pain for such a long time. And because America is on the stage of life during this time of transformation, the injustice, blatant injustice, the abuse, the oppression that happens in that country, and then to have a leader who is, you might want to ask if he's a member of the KKK. It's like, are you sure you're just the president? Are you sure at night time you don't go hang out with your boys? Because the things you're doing is just wrong. It's just wrong. The call to rise up is, do I have in my own heart, can I open my heart to a Donald Trump? Even those leaders, Boris Johnson, as much as he supported, some people have made racist statements. Can I open my heart to them? Yes, we do matter. We make a difference. That's my brother John Stringer, reminding us of the truth. We matter, you matter, I matter, we all matter, and Black Lives Matter even. If you get any other counter to what I just said, you better go somewhere else. Don't come with that. Don't come with countering what I say. Not on my show. Well, okay, here we go. Oh boy. Just giving thanks for this space, for this moment, as we step into our greater yet to be, knowing that something great, something wonderful, something amazing is seeking to be birthed through us, and we are saying yes to it. For this, I am grateful. I am grateful for what is about to be revealed to each and every one of us. I'm grateful for divine order. I am grateful for open-heartedness. An open heart that allows us to translate what we know intellectually into action. And for this, I am grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you all for being here. You are in the house of love. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day to you. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for saying yes to life. This is Being You, the journey back to yourself. I am Ade, your transformational artist, your transformational beingness artist. Welcome. This is season 2, episode 6. It's moving along, and today is Tuesday, June 9th, 2020. Thank you, India. India's like, yep, you got it right. You got it right. My dear sister Shoyinka is in the house. Joy is in the house. Ooh, the rhythm and flow. I'm so grateful to be here. Good morning, Marilyn. You're in Canada, right, Marilyn? Yeah, tell us where you're at. What's going on? Full and just making sure that everything is fine over here. Let's check YouTube. Yep, I'm streaming on YouTube and Facebook. So, and if you're listening to this, well, if you're listening to the audio, know that there is a video on YouTube or Facebook. I have actually been slow in updating, adding the audios lately and the edited video. It's just been a lot going on. It's been busy. So I think I'm going to catch up with my editing in the next week or two. So if you're listening to this later, my apologies. Life is in session. That's all I can say. Life is in session. Well, Being You is about, the idea behind is helping you really take a look at yourself. Take a look at the world. So it's about how you see yourself, how you see the world, how you see yourself in the world, and how you see the world in you. That is important. That is very important, especially now. It's always been important, but now. And sometimes we just got to stop and take a breath and take a deep breath because life is calling us to breathe. Actually, I wrote a blog about that, and I'm not sure if I'm going to read it. I don't know. I wasn't thinking about it, but let me see if I can pull it up and just have it close. Maybe India can pull it up for me. How about that? And it's on the blog section, and it is "We Must Breathe. We Have to Breathe." I may bring you to come and read it. Okay. Thank you. All right, cool. That's good of having help and support. I can just kick back and do my thing. How is everyone doing? Of course, there's a lot going on in the world. How are you feeling? How are you navigating life? How are you navigating? I want to make sure that my video is not crooked because I am using my phone for now until I work out what needs to be worked out. Yeah, how are you navigating this moment, this challenging time? And it's important to be honest about the feelings that we may call negative, be it anger, be it rage, upset. You feel like you want to just blow some shit up. It's important not to deny that because oftentimes we think, oh, I can't think like that. I shouldn't think like that. All of it is invited. What you do with it is a different conversation. But it is important to allow yourself to feel what you feel. If you allow yourself to feel the anger, the rage, the upset, whatever it is, the hurt. It's easy to say I'm upset. It's easy to say I'm angry. It's not always easy to say I'm hurting. Because when you go to that place of hurt, you get to feel some things that you may be running from. But freedom is being able to call what is happening in you and speaking it out loud so that you can set it free. The theme for today is a call. What is it? Can't remember now. A call to rise up. That's what it is. It's a call to rise up. And we must rise up. We have to rise up. We have to stay rising up. And if we don't, we'll get buried with all the manure that's going on. And even if you get buried with that, you're still going to eventually grow. The way in is the way out, or the way out is the way in. That's what I meant to say. You know what? I think I'm feeling led to. India, did you find it? Okay, cool. I'm going to bring you on to read it in a minute. India, you're silly. Well, I see her. You guys don't see her, so I see some of the things that she does. So Marilyn, you're in Regina, somewhere in Canada that I'm not good. Let me try it. Saskatchewan, like that. I feel like I'm speaking another language. I can't. So yeah, this is something that came to me sometime last week after my meditation. I was just feeling it, and it's not even a counter to "I Can't Breathe," the chant that people are expressing during the protest. Because I definitely support the protest. The protest is an act of love. This protest is an act of love. We'll talk more about that. But it came and I had to write it. I thought it was just going to be like a one-liner. Initially, I was going to just put it on. I was going to put it on Facebook, and then Spirit said, "No, put it in your blog." So I just kept writing, it kept pouring out. And in times like this, it is important to breathe. That's what I would say. And I'm going to bring India on. Let me bring her on. Hey, India, how are you? I don't hear you. You must be muted.
Okay. I muted myself. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to read this. Let me bring it up. I won't be able to see you.
How are you doing, India? Being a young woman, a young Black woman in America, how are you doing?
It's been heavy. Mm-hmm. It's been heavy. Last week when you said about facing grief. It all clicked in, and I'm like, that is literally what we're going through. And I don't want to try to hide it or, try to push down the grief. And I know sometimes we do that. And as young people, we're like, what do we do? How can we continue to make change? And so it's been heavy. I just honestly had to take time to myself. I actually got to go to the mountains this weekend. So I got to breathe in some really great air, and experience the full moon. And I needed that, but it's been really heavy during this time. But I'm so thankful for all the protests and thankful for the act of love that a lot of our people are showing and a lot of, supporters are showing right now, because it's so important to, be out there. Me and my friends, one of my friends is like, we need to go to the March on Washington. I'm like, with everything that's going on, I feel as though that's going to be a huge culmination of a lot of things. But definitely taking it one day at a time. Doing the Being You podcast has been so grounding for me. Being able to speak to different individuals such as Reverend D and John, and just different perspectives that are, people as individuals who are older than me. So I can kind of sit down and say, okay, what did the older generations do? How were they able to make change without, the violence? So it's been heavy, but I've been making it through, and I'm very grateful to be here during this time to do this. And I'm like, oh, this is my calling. This is, I have my, I was thinking, I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing, during this time? And, really confused about, what am I supposed to do and what is my job? And I had to sit and understand this past weekend that this is my job. This is my calling. This is where I'm helping humanity, where I'm helping society. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's been good.
Yeah. I feel you. I like what you just said, because it made me think of, I just finished writing daily thoughts for August, and I wrote something in the final thoughts, because after the days, as an author of the daily thought, we get to write a final thought. And I wrote something, which it's just a one line, so I'll say it. And it's something like, we're here, as in on the planet, because we were born for such a time as this. And this morning, as I was thinking about it, it's like something that I've said before and people hear it. And I don't know if it was, I think I was being nudged to change it. Because usually when I go in the shower, I just get the inspiration. Things just calm, and it's like, okay. And what I heard was to say, gosh, it's gone. But really, I'm going to paraphrase now, because it was just present. It's this idea that maybe not put that there, but the idea of even, what if this moment is why we were born? What if? So giving people to think about, as you were saying, that this is your calling, but there's some people still trying to figure out, what should I do? What is mine to do? Why am I here? But what if this is it? What if what is happening now is yours to do? And easily we can say, oh yeah, of course, but those kind of questions, they require taking it in and sitting with it. And clearly, I believe that, I know that this is why we're here.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're the reason we're experiencing this, because we've been praying and doing the work. So all the shit that's under the carpet is now, we're seeing it clearly.
Literally, everything's coming up. And I've in my lifetime, this has never happened in my lifetime for my generation. We look at the textbooks and we're like, oh, this, our grandparents had to deal with this. So we're like, oh, we chilling. So the fact that everything is coming up, we're like, oh, okay, hold on. Grandparents, like I'm tuning into my grandparents' spirits. Like my mom showed me pictures of my great aunt, and I'm like, okay, great aunt, what did you all do during this time? Let me sit and let me hear spirit, so I don't just react, because I think we can get into the reactive mode, and I don't want to be reactive. I want to be proactive and really understand what I'm doing fully intentionally. Yeah.
And that's good. And it's also important to also get that part of the solution is reactive. You know, it's not getting carried away, because sometimes we do this either or. In love, which is part of today's conversation, in love, in oneness, in unity is everything.
Yeah.
It is the reaction, the response, the proactiveness, the love, the hate, all of it belongs. And until we can look at the things we don't want to look at, then we keep repeating. Anyway, let's breathe. Let's breathe.
I will go ahead and read.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so yes, you can. So you can find this on Ade's site. Plug them in, lifecoachade.com.
I like the move.
No. So the article is under blogs and it is titled, "We Must Breathe. We Have to Breathe." Eric Garner, George Floyd, and countless others had their breath snuffed out of them. We must breathe for them. We must breathe for their families. We must breathe for ourselves. We must breathe for humanity. We must breathe for the sake of life, love, resilience, healing, peace of mind, our well-being, and our mental health. We must breathe. We must breathe to disrupt the status quo. We must breathe for a new day. We must breathe and resist. We must breathe and surrender. We must breathe and let go. We must breathe and heal the sense of separation within us and each other. We must breathe to wake up the sleeping giant of transformation within us. We must breathe for oneness. We must breathe because our children need us to breathe. They need us to show them the way and join them in their vision. We must breathe. We must breathe because we can. Breathe, breathe again, breathe some more. Your power is in your breath. Breathe. Breath is life. Breathe.
Thank you very much. Breath is life. Life is God. Breathe. You are breath. Thank you, India. I appreciate you. Thank you for pulling that up for me, because I wasn't planning to use that today. All right. You're going back to the green room?
Yes.
We must breathe. Yes, Joyinka said we must breathe raw love, 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 love. Breathe, people. Bebo, love. Bebo means breathe in, breathe out. And if any of you are following Shoyinka on Instagram, you see that she does videos every day. Shoyinka Rahim. Those of you who are listening rather than watching, it's S-O-Y-I. No, let's try that again. S-O-Y-I-N-K-A, Rahim, R-A-H-I-M. You can find her on Instagram. Her website address is bebolove.us. If I am wrong, correct me, Shoyinka. We must breathe because we need to breathe. And as I said before, this is not a counter to the chant, I can't breathe. It's all about balance. And because breath centers us, it reminds us of who we are. And I want to read this. The topic, the theme today is, I'm going to take this off now because I don't need it anymore.
It is a call to rise up. And it's interesting when I hear, particularly when I'm watching mostly CNN, and there's always talk about peaceful protest, peaceful protest. They keep emphasizing it. Hey, New Jace, nice to see you. I know you're multitasking and multi-listening, aren't you? And I get it. What I will say is, first of all of it belongs, right? I'm not advocating for violence, but what I am saying is, when it does pop off, we need to understand that's part of the process. You have a leader of a country who is spewing violent words stoking the flame. And yet he doesn't get challenged. Well, he does get challenged, but sometimes, anyway, I'm not going to go on that tangent. I'm just not going down that path. That's too easy. That is too easy. What is important is to ask ourselves, what is mine to do? And this whole conversation, if you missed my interview with Rev D, I think it was, what date is this? Okay, yeah, last week. Just scroll down. It's on YouTube. You got to check it out. You got to check it out. And speaking of Rev D, actually, before I read this quote, because those of us who believe in freedom, to quote Sweet Honey Narak, they say, those who believe in freedom cannot rest and will not rest. I won't get too caught up in semantics, but really, you got to keep the work going. And there are a lot of people who are saying enough is enough. And it is important to do this work that you're equipped, that you have the tools. So Reverend Deborah L. Johnson, she's doing a workshop tomorrow and next week. So it's this Wednesday coming and the week after that. It is called as a Spirituality in Action series, Introduction to Sacred Race Relations. It is on Wednesday, June 10th and June 17th, 3 to 4:30 p.m. Pacific Daytime. And Eastern Time, that is 6 o'clock. In UK time, that is 11 o'clock. And it's going to be on Zoom. See if I could, I'll post this in the chat room now. Actually, let me see. Yeah, actually, no, I'm going to, India, because if I post in the chat room, it's going to show up. I don't mind it showing up on YouTube, but I might need you to go. If you check on my page and just scroll down, you see it. You can start from where it says Spirituality in Action. And I strongly recommend that you sign up for it. Because what Rev D teaches and gives us the tools to not jump in this conversation of race relations, injustice, oppression, all the isms, to not jump into it without the right tools, the right information. She prepares spiritual soldiers. That's the best way to put it. Because this conversation about race and injustice is very triggering. And sometimes we feel like we don't know what to do, so we don't do anything, which is just as dangerous. And if you don't, guess what? It gets to recycle itself. Trying to post on YouTube. There we go. It recycles itself. And then I saw somebody say something yesterday, and they said something like, that's interesting. How did that happen? Okay, they said something like, well, my generation did not get to find a solution to racism. Hopefully the next generation will find a solution. That's not true. That is not true. So this is what I want to share, this quote, and I invite you to just chew on it and sit with it and be with it. And the quote is, the one who plants trees, knowing that he will never sit in their shade, has at least started to understand the meaning of life. The one who plants trees, knowing that he will never sit in their shade, has at least started to understand the meaning of life. And that's by, I'm going to try and pronounce his name, Rabindranath Tagore, or Tagore, probably Tagore. I'm sure I slaughtered it, but Google it. Actually, I don't know how I can get it to. Oh, I know what to do. I know how to get it in. So I've got so many screens here. So let me put it in here so you can see the quote. There we go. The The one who plants trees, knowing that he will never sit in their shade, has at least started to understand the meaning of life. Just think about that. What are you doing now? What is yours to do? What kind of seeds are you planting? And are you comfortable planting seeds, planting trees right now, knowing that you won't get to sit under their shades? Are you comfortable with just saying, well, what's the point? I'm not going to be here. Even if you do not experience peace the way you know that is possible in your mind, in your consciousness, in the vision that you've had, are you still going to commit to the work of peace, the work of love? Because this is nothing but love. This is work of love. As I said earlier, protesting is a work of love. And a call to rise up is an invitation to hold a vision. Pain pushes until vision pulls. We've been pushed by pain for such a long time. Black people, brown people, I would say. And I include all the brown people, because like I said, I got my one-man movement. Ain't nobody black. Ain't nobody white either. But I understand that's what we say, but I'm going to say brown. So when I say brown, I'm talking about African Americans. Even all of that is, the way we categorize ourselves is very problematic. I've seen some people saying, well, African Americans are not black. The things that just happen, it's just the things that we do as human beings. But brown people have been pushed by pain for such a long time. And because America is on the stage of life during this time of transformation, the injustice, blatant injustice, the abuse, the oppression that happens in that country, and then to have a leader who is, you might want to ask if he's a member of the KKK. It's like, are you sure you're just the president? Are you sure at nighttime you don't go hang out with your boys? Because the things you're doing is just wrong. It's just wrong. The call to rise up is, do I have in my own heart, can I open my heart to a Donald Trump? Even those leaders, Boris Johnson, as much as he supported, some people have made racist statements. Can I open my heart to them? That's the call to rise up. So people, black people, people of color, we got our work to do the healing work, to heal the pain. White people, they got to step up. There's nothing new that I'm saying. I'm just echoing what we all know. And this journey, this process is going to be painful. It is painful. It is willing to see differently. It's willing to be honest with oneself and saying, maybe I had it wrong. Maybe I was wrong. I see something here. Oh, that's what you posted. All right. Maybe I was wrong about all of this. And earlier I was talking about embracing the grief, the challenge. If we do not make space in our own heart to make room for being brokenhearted, being in pain, being disappointed, being angry, feeling the guilt, the shame, we cannot create space for another. How can we create space for another if we can't create it for ourselves? We won't know what to do. We won't know what to do. It's a challenging time. There's COVID-19. There are people who's lost their jobs. There are people who have health challenges. There are people who've lost loved ones. There's so many things going on right now. And there are people who are just saying, please stop the bus. I want to get off. Stop life. This process of being called up to rise up, if you think about it, it's like planting. If you want to plant something, the process of planting or growing something, it requires digging. It requires uprooting. You have to dig up the weed. You got to clear the weed. You got to get dirty. You might even cut yourself while you're at it. You got to cultivate the soil. You got to loosen it up. We've got to loosen ourselves up in order to grow a new way of being in order to grow humanity. Got to tend to the soil. We got to fertilize the soil. And what do you fertilize the soil with? Manure. Bullshit. And you mix it all together. And out of that mixing together, that tending to it and watering and making sure there are no more weeds, and you keep doing it on a day-to-day basis, gives birth to a new life. We're born for such a time as this. And people are going to always have their counter, right? There's so many things that I've seen online. I'm sure you've seen it. But I think what is more important is to be able to ask yourself, is most of your energy going into highlighting the wrong? Like, see, look at them doing that. See, look at them doing that. Look at what they're doing now. Look at what they're doing now. Or is your energy focused towards what it could be like? I think like Rev D said last week, it's like, can people see you, hear you, and know what you stand for, what you believe in, what is sacred to you? It's good that all these videos are going around and we're seeing police officers not just brutalizing Black men, Black women, Black people. We're also seeing them mistreat elders and lying about it. But somehow it seems like, oh boy, we humans, something that I heard, I can't remember, but I want to say, I know where I heard it. We the humans, we I don't know what it is. Where people think, okay, so let me say it this way. There are people who are quote unquote on the side or speaking, not on the side, speaking on behalf of the police officers. And they will talk about police officers as if they're not human. And what I mean by that is as if they don't have emotions, as if they don't have the ability to be triggered by what someone does. They're human like anybody else. The difference is they are wearing this uniform that makes them feel very powerful. They're wearing the uniform, they have the weapon to snuff somebody out, they taser people who's already surrendered. We got to tell the truth. We got to tell the truth. We got to tell the truth. We got to confront ourselves. We got to dig deep, be willing to get messy. There's a book I want to recommend. It's Ed Bacon, as in bacon that you eat. Ed, E-D, Edward. And it is, let me just pull it. It's the 8 Habits of Love. Actually, I pulled it up earlier. I want to give you the rest. If you do 8 Habits of Love. Okay, 8 Habits of Love. Open your heart, open your mind. The healing is in opening our hearts and opening our minds. The great thing about this book is for those who doubt if love is enough, those who doubt if spiritual practice is enough, this book talks about love in ways that is digestible, in ways that could help you see that the people that are protesting is out of love. And I'm certain that some of the people, it's easy. Here's again about telling the truth, right? There might be some people who were looting during the protest that are not from the far left, far right. They're just people who are angry. But sometimes we want to say, oh, the people who were doing that were the bad people and the good people that are doing peaceful protesting. We got to let that go. People are people, and people may do bad things or good things. Evil things are just the most inhumane things. But people are people. In the eyes of love, if you're committed to it, you will be aware, you will learn, you will understand that everyone is loved. Whether it's Hitler, whether it's those who enslaved Africans, whether it's a political leader of your country, Trump, he's the number one. I mean, boy, if we can measure the energy of his name, that name has been invoked in so many ways. Maybe, I don't know. I won't go into that. But, the things that he's doing does require him to be called out. But there are people who support him. There are people that you might support, like Barack Obama. if you don't support Trump, maybe you support Barack Obama or supported him and still do and miss him. But at the same time, there were people who were against him, Obama that is, and didn't support him. But no matter how evil someone is, even the police officer who put his knee on George's neck is loved. If we just sit with that, we might start looking at love differently. For those people who feel like, well, love is not enough. Ed Bacon's book, he talks about 8 habits. One is generosity, the ability to move from fear to love, to give of yourself, not just your time and money, but to give from a place of kindness and compassion, to allow space for somebody to be healed or access their healing, especially when we want someone to change, right? We want someone to change. Sometimes we've got to hold a space for the healing to happen because they're too afraid, too scared, or have no clue that they can't even step in that place of healing. Each and every one of us are healing agents. So we got to be generous with what we know. The habit of stillness. Well, how New Jace, who is listening through WhatsApp, not WhatsApp. Why am I saying WhatsApp? Because we've got all this thing through YouTube, which is what I'm looking at over here. I got a screen over here. She shared an article with me a while back. And the article was about a woman talking about why she stopped meditating during the COVID-19 period. And it was funny. The reason she gave for not meditating and how meditation is an escape and this is not the time to escape. Meditation, I don't even remember it, but I laughed through it. I think many years ago I would have been upset because I feel like, just get attached that she's attacking me. But it was funny. It was funny because if she was serious, she don't understand what meditation is. Because being still, meditating is not an escape. It is giving yourself permission to access new information, wisdom, insight, and understanding so that you can deal with what is happening. We cannot solve the current problem with the mindset that created it. And we've got to go beyond what we know intellectually and go deep into ourselves and ask the divine spirit, the universe, God, whatever, Father, Mother, God, whatever you call it, and ask to be guided, to be shown what is the next best action to take. So in stillness, you strengthen your connection to the divine. In stillness, you fine-tune your inner ears. In stillness, you connect with your intuition in a powerful way. And you're led to the right people, to the right thing, to the right place. You're even reminded to just stop. You may be planning to go for some kind of town hall meeting, and you can't wait to go there to give your opinion and how things got to change in your local area. And you may just hear, stay home. Practicing, spiritual practice help us hear clearly. And when we listen to the guidance, we may just find out why we got to stay home. Sometimes you're not going to know why you're told to stay home. That's the thing that kind of trip us up. Because say that slowly. Trip us up. We think when we receive guidance, we want to see it. You may see it. You may not see it. You may not see it for years later. But it's about listening to guidance. How do you know if that's your ego or your spirit talking to you? Sometimes you're not going to know. Sometimes it may be spirit and you think it's your ego. Sometimes it's going to be your ego and you're going to say spirit. But what is your intent? What is your deepest intent? What is the vision? And oftentimes you can tell if what you're getting is coming from a high vibration or resistance, low vibration. Another habit of love is telling the truth. Telling the truth. It takes love to tell the truth and speak the truth. Even if you're the only one that's going to be speaking that truth, even if you know that you're going to be judged and criticized. Telling the truth is telling the truth about yourself, telling the truth about how you see it. And there's something about the spiritual principles, right? There's a paradox, a dichotomy. It's like, wait, which one is it? Sometimes we're told to hold on. Sometimes we're told to let go. Well, how do I know when to let go? Well, when you feel like you've been holding on for too long and there's resistance and you're stressed, it's time to release and let go. If you think, well, I have this great idea that came to me in what I call dream vision. Some people say dream, some people say vision. But the stage where I feel like I'm half asleep, half awake, or even while I'm sleeping, that sometimes I get some instructions on what to do that I just feel like it's more than a dream. It's maybe it's a vision, I don't know. But I've never really said it's not a vision, but I call it dream vision. In that state where your conscious mind is just chilling. It's just sleeping, like, I'm so glad to be sleeping. And your subconscious mind is wide awake. Your super conscious mind, really, in essence, you tune into spirit and you get guidance on what to do to move forward. And, it requires you to say the things that you've been afraid to say. Too many people have been afraid to say what needs to be said, and we'll look, if I want to deal with this with some race thing, there are white people who haven't spoke their truth because they're afraid. I remember a workshop that I was part of, and there was this he was in his 40s, and there was an older lady, she probably was maybe late 50s or early 60s. And she was talking about, she didn't know anything about racism or, where she lived, there was no black people there. Both of them had a sort of similar story. But as they grew up, they're realizing there's a problem here. But they felt like they didn't have the answer. So they stayed away because they didn't know what to say. If you feel like something is happening, but you don't know what to say, that's an invitation to rise up, to learn what to do. But sometimes we get very comfortable. We get very comfortable. Hello, my dear sister, Reverend Tandy in South Africa. It takes love to tell the truth. That's right. I'm looking forward to coming to South Africa this Sunday to hang out with you. But yeah, so we see things and we say we don't know what to do, but we don't stop there. The fact that we are seeing it and we feel like we want to do something, but we don't know what to do, we find what to do. And at first when they were saying I was sort of mad, it's like, oh, you get the privilege of not knowing what to do because you're white, so you stay out of it because you didn't want to hurt people's feelings or didn't want to say the wrong thing. But then I also have to open my heart and say, at least they're telling the truth. Because it's one thing to know something. It's one thing to know something. To know that white people know about what's going on, but they're just not speaking up. To just kind of know in your head. And if someone asks you, how do you know? You say, I just know. But there's another thing to have evidence, to have an experience where someone is telling you what you already know. It's that whole thing about telling the truth again. You have evidence. You can say, I spoke to a white person in this case. The other habit that I want to share is candor, which goes hand in hand with telling the truth. Candor, where you're just telling people, you're very frank about what is. And I've seen people do it sometimes, and it just amazes me. I think what's the brother's name? I know his name. Okay, New Jays, I Need Your Help. I can hear it. He had some things that he was doing with Tavis Smiley. He was wearing black. He's got Afro. India, do you? Oh gosh. And you said no. He always talks about. Let me see. Justice is what love looks like in public. I gotta say, okay. Let me see, because he's the first one I heard say that. He may not be the one that said that quote. Let me see. So maybe some of you say it in the chat room, but okay, here we go. Is what love looks. Oh, Cornel West. There it is. It's like, I knew Cornel West. I mean, he can speak with so much candor, so much truth. And it doesn't have to get into a fight or get mad or call your mama or whatever. It takes love to do that. It takes love to say, listen, you need to pull up. You need to cut that shit out. It's time for a shift. Without love, it's dangerous. We're always in love. We're a part of love. We're connected to love. But as human beings, we have a choice to activate it, to express it and demonstrate it or not. And if we get so caught up in rage and anger and frustration, and we don't have love as the foundation, we will consume ourselves with the fire of anger. Ed Bacon said, under the habit of candor, using both tenderness and tact, candor can help us have difficult and important conversations with those we care about. We only have one choice. Well, we have two choices in life, no matter what it looks like. We have the choice to be afraid, to fear. We have the choice to choose fear or choose love. Whatever you choose, so be it. Here's another habit. What time is it? Here's another habit of love. Play. Play. The more we play, the more flexible we are. The more resilient we are. It opens our imagination. It frees the mind to stretch. You know, even what's happening on the news, I have to catch myself like, enough already, turn the TV off. Last week, I was really binging on CNN. This week, I just step in to see what's happening. It's heavy. We got to balance the heaviness with lightness and playing with your children, playing with your pets, playing with your friends, playing with yourself. That works too. It's all part of the healing. That's the other thing that we don't want to talk about, speaking of telling the truth. Pleasure is important. Your sexuality, there's got to be a free-flowing energy. If you're backed up sexually, it's going to show up. Yes, I did, India. I sure did. Let me see what's going on in the chat room. Joe, it is so nice to see you. Joe said, true, recognize and rise. And love is liberation. Yes, well, thank you very much for pulling that up. Love is liberation and liberation of love. Jasmine. I think Jasmine is Sedula. I'm not sure if I'm sure I'm not pronouncing the name right, but I think she's one of the authors of Joe. Am I correct? Because you put that up there. I think she's one of the authors of what is it called? People's name is just escaping me today. Reverend Angel. Anyway, tell me, Joe, if I got it mixed up. I think she's one of the. So when I forget, I'm gonna pull it up. Reverend Angel. Come on, work with me. That's another book that I would actually recommend. Reverend Kyoto Angel Williams, I mean. Yes, she wrote a book. That's what I'm looking for. Radical Dharma. I've read some of it. I don't actually have it, but I've read some of it. It's another book we can use to help navigate this moment of transformation. Every year has an energy. You know, a lot of people are looking forward to 2020. Oh, 2020 vision, and we're going to see clearly. Yay, I can't wait for 2020 to be here. And some people are like, flip 2020. I'm ready for 2020 to be gone. But we are seeing clearly. We just weren't aware that we're going to be seeing the things that we are seeing. Oh, yeah. So Jasmine is one of the writers. See, I remember that part. Radical Dharma, Talking Race, Love, and Liberation. Written by Jasmine, who I can pronounce her last name, Sidula. I think that's an Arabic name. Lama Rod Owens. Yeah, he's on Lama Rod Owens. He's on Instagram. I think all of them are on Instagram, but he just really drops knowledge. And Reverend Angel Kyoto Williams, another sister who's just powerful. We have the resources. We have what we need. The only thing that is called for, what we've been asked to do is, will we represent what we know? Are we willing to show up as love? Are we willing to show up as radical Dharma embodied? Are you willing to be the one to tell the truth? Not telling the truth as in, I'm going to tell them about themselves, but to really tell the truth that nobody wants to say or that they don't want to hear, and it needs to be said. Thank you, Joe. The answer to what we're going through and growing through is real simple, actually. We make it complicated, but it's actually simple. Thank you, India, for posting that in there. It's really simple, but we make it complicated. It's messy. It's painful. Sometimes. Sometimes it's gut-wrenching. Because you're going to have to face yourself. You're going to have to face your own judgment. You're going to have to face your own implicit biases. We all have it. It's about healing the sense of separation. Another habit of love is forgiveness. Healing the sense of separation. And it's not even about judging people in power, white people. What did I say? That's not judging them. That's not what I want to say. What it sounds like I said, I don't think that's what I want to say. But what I want to say is this process of forgiveness. I think I said it earlier at the beginning, though. It's about the oppressed needs to find the right tool to set herself free from the grip of the oppressor. It is possible. That's what the spiritual principles are for. They're not decorations. They're not just platitudes or cliches. They actually, to some extent, they don't mean much until you apply them. Forgiveness is one of that. It is important for me to forgive myself so that I can be present, to be a vessel, a channel for love when it's needed, to speak the truth. If I don't forgive myself from the hurt, from the trauma that I've gone through, when the opportunity shows up for me to speak the truth, I might be bringing all my traumatic experience to the table, and then they can't hear me. That goes for all of us, black or brown, or white, or red, or yellow, whoever those people are. You know, we make up these colors. It goes for all of us. White people need to do some serious forgiveness. And the habit, number 7, the habit of compassion. For there to be compassion, there's got to be understanding. Because even if by some, I don't want to call it miracles, but we'll go with that. Let's just say somehow. Let me see. I want to say this. Okay, here it is. Here's a better way to say it. If somehow what was causing us pain, what was making our lives miserable, was somehow rectified, resolved, corrected. If we are not correct within ourselves, we are going to see the same thing somewhere else. Injustice within family members. Supremacy within husband and wife. Feel like you're better because whatever the reasons are. I've shared this many times. I remember when I was in Nigeria, there was a sort of like a protest where people were protesting and telling people from Ghana to go back to their country. And there was a chant. They were saying, Ghana must go. Ghana must go. And I was young. I don't know. I remember those days. And there was a reason why they were doing that. And then coming back to UK and going to college here and experiencing people from India, from Pakistani who don't like each other. I won't use the slur, but I know I had a Pakistani friend who would talk about the Indian friend, and the Indian friend would talk about the Pakistani, the English and the Irish, or the Scottish, or the Welsh. In America, it's the Northerners and the Southerners. Even up till this day, people will say things that people in the north part of America would say, United States of America, they would say, well, the South is backwards. It's a Bible Belt. They look at the Southerners as being illiterate. But thinking of like Alabama, Atlanta, Florida. But in Atlanta, maybe one person out of 10 is from Atlanta. So who you're talking about? We take a story, a narrative that was once told to us that may have been true, and we keep recycling it. We keep recycling it. We got to change our own stories. And my conversation is not, when I say our, I'm not just talking about Black people, brown people. I'm talking about all of us. Even if what we are voting against, protesting against, whatever that is, if that's moved, if we are of the same mind, we haven't changed. As I was saying earlier, every year has its own vibration, its own energy. And 2020 is a year for us to really see what was happening. We had a warning, but we didn't know it. Start with COVID-19. Whereas COVID-19 was like, go sit your butt down because we're going to go deep now. But you need to rest for a minute. I know you can't wait to get back out there and interact with your friends and family, but something is coming around the corner. You are going to watch a lynching of a Black man in plain sight. And that's going to rock you more than this health issue that you're worried about, because you're going to see another human being put his knee on another human being and doing it as if this is what I'm supposed to do. Calm, hands in the pocket, taking a life. I found out this morning that George Floyd, he's Libra. And Libra about justice, about beauty, about balance. So really could be said that he sacrificed his life for justice. He sacrificed his life to get us to start looking at the beauty, our beauty. It may take a while to see that. And yet we do see it. We see how people are coming together. We see things that are happening. I personally see police chiefs really telling the truth about the police organization. That's not the word I'm looking for, but that's what I'm going to use right now. It's a new day. The last habit of community, the last habit of love is community, as expressed in the 8 Habits of Love, Open Your Heart and Mind by Ed Bacon. Community. We need each other. And we don't need to rush to the point of, well, we don't need those people. Or I was co-facilitating a session last week, and I said something about inclusivity or healing the sense of separation. And one of the participants was saying, well, yes, and we also must talk about oppression. I said, I'm not excluding that. Talking about what we can do to move forward doesn't mean we're ignoring what is happening. It's easy sometimes to get stopped at what is happening. It's easy for people to say, well, you're protesting, then what? Well, Maybe the people who are protesting, that's their role. That's what they're supposed to do. You at home saying, what's the point of you protesting? Maybe now is your time to do the next thing. And especially in this world of social media, I don't even want to say that either, because we make social media be this bad thing that happened that we have no control over. We are social media. We are society. We are the one posting and sharing and expressing and liking and being angry. We are it. We don't need to blame smartphones. Phones are not that smart. We've been convinced that phones are smarter than us. We're smarter than, I mean, come on. We're an extension of the divine. We're part of a community of infinity that is intelligent. People came together to design the smartphones. And we allow technology to now take over our lives and think, oh my God, yeah, things are difficult now doing social. What are you talking about? Just stop. Go get still. Forgive yourself and recognize your power. We all have a role to play. And I can say that, well, let me say this. We all have opinions. And it don't mean nothing. And in healing the sense of separation, I'm thinking of a video that I watched recently. It saddens me, actually, as I think about it. And even while I was watching it, 2 videos, but I'm going to talk about another one. And it was a video of this sister somewhere in Africa. I don't know where she's from. I think I saw the 1-minute version, or just a little over 1 minute on Instagram. But then someone sent me a longer version. I haven't watched it yet because it's just too painful, really, to be quite honest. Like, I can't take that. So this sister's from Africa. Some of you may have seen it. She lives in America. Apparently, she's an American citizen now, so she's naturalized and everything. And she had a one-woman protest about Black life doesn't matter. If Black life matters, then why don't you protest when blacks are killing blacks? And the other people, they were going back and forth. And she was passionate about it and talking a whole lot of crap. I need to get that out of my system. And she was just spewing rhetoric that I've heard white people say. So here's one thing I'm going to say. If you don't like strong words, this is time to kind of like mute yourself real quick. There's a whole lot of bullshit that gets spewed when people don't want to face their own bullshit. The idea, that mindset, that languaging, that narrative of black on black crime is bullshit. I won't. Yeah, bull effing shit. What are you talking about? White people kill white people. We don't say white on white crime. It's part of the systemic oppressive mindset. Like, oh, look, they're killing themselves. The black people are killing themselves, but we white people don't. But when a white man goes to school and blow up kids, children and adults and elderlies, or goes to a church and blow up people who are praying, suddenly the white media wants to talk about mental health issues. But when they talk about Chicago or a black man killing another black man, they talk about it because the father's not home, they live in the ghetto, they're from the gang. Those kind of things is nothing but bullshit, and I stand by it. And then we buy into it. Then you have somebody move from one country in Africa to America and spew the same rhetoric. But you know what? I was still compassionate in the way that I see her. It's like, what is it that hurt you so much? You as a black woman, a brown woman, standing up, arguing with people about people who are protesting about the lynching of another man, black man, and you say black lives don't matter because if it does, black people won't be killing one another. This is It's so much bigger. It's about 400, 500 years of oppression. Oh my God, I'm so passionate. Let me bring myself down. Woo! Oppression that is systemic. And it's global. It's not just in America. This white supremacy is across the world. What was done in South Africa? What is done in countries in Africa right now, where these Western countries, they suck the resources of Africa and then talk about, oh, the leaders they're corrupt. They take bribes. We don't take bribes in America. Those people are lobbyists. They're lobbying us. So we make crime legal. Boy, I did not have no idea of going this direction. Oh yeah, I am not going to talk about Candace Owens. I can't. And, you know, I sometimes don't even understand. I don't understand. And it's not about, why would you talk against your race or your people? It's not even that. It's about what is going on that you think you need to demonize people who look like you. What is going on behind those eyes? What's going on in your brain? What's going on in your heart? But you know what? It matters and it doesn't. What matters is what we do. The action is that we take, what we do now. Because one with God is a majority. Anyone who is convicted in the power of love, the power of peace, the power of truth and reconciliation can move mountains. We've seen it, and it's not a unique thing. It's not just one person every century. We affirm Mandela for what he did. We all have it in us. The question is, will we do it? Will we rise up? We're going to constantly see the Candace Owens, the sisters and the brothers from another country. There are people in Africa, from Nigeria, who look down at African Americans. There are African Americans who look down at people in Africa. There are Jamaicans who look down on Africa. It's human nature. We must heal our own supremacy. And yes, this is the time to talk about it. How do I know? Because I'm talking about it. If we want to change anything and everything, if we want to change anything, we got to change everything. And we got to rise up. We got to stand up. We got to speak up. We got to act up. We got to love up. We got to peace up. Don't just peace out. We got to do whatever we need to do. And what keeps us grounded is our spiritual practice. Whatever your spiritual practice is, do it, live it, demonstrate it. I saw another comment yesterday that, do you think meditation is enough to change what's going on in the world? Well, meditation doesn't mean you don't do anything. That's like saying, well, my battery is dead, but do you think if I charge it, that's enough to make a call? If you want to make a call, you have to charge it. Meditation is charging your spirit. It's charging your mind so you can receive wisdom and insight, a new way to do things. It's a time to rise up. And the question is, what is yours to do? Don't make it complicated. Don't make it complicated. With the right intention, a simple action of recognizing, maybe talking to a neighbor that you've ignored for so many years, is good enough. We talk about generational trauma. Well, that's generational wisdom. It all lives in us. Next week, I'm going to have Kevin Ross join me. And I'm looking forward to having him be here. I've known Kevin for so many years. He's the senior minister at Unity Church in Sacramento. Just a powerful brother, a Morehouse brother. So I'm looking forward to him being here. The week after that, I don't have a confirmed guest yet, which is the 23rd of June, and and then the June 30th, I have somebody joining me, a white man, and I say white man because it's important. I didn't say Kevin was black because I didn't need to say it, but it's important to hear. There's a young man that I connected with. His name is Peter Rubin. Robin, Rubin. He's a coach, and let me see if I can see something on his page. I found him on Rev D's page, and we've been communicating. I just went to his page. He said, "Phew, it's a lot right now. When drowning, breathe. Then take a dance break. It helps." I don't know if you're drowning and you breathe. That might not be the wise thing to do. But I understand what it means. Peter is offering services for white people who want to face their own, just their own ignorance. As he said here, take me up on an unpacking privilege conversation. It's hard work. And yet we are the one to do it because we're here. We're the ones. We're the ones to do it. And we have a choice. We have a choice to opt out. And then just know that there's a consequences for every action. You're not going to be punished. I'm not talking about karma and all that rubbish. Oh, karma's going to get you. No. It's just about cause and effect. Let me leave you with this quote one more time for those of you who didn't hear it. The one who plants trees, knowing that he will never sit in their shade, has at least started to understand the meaning of life. That's Rabindranath Tagore. The one who plants trees, knowing that he will never sit in their shade, has at least started to understand the meaning of life. We're in this together. And if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your children. There's something else that I was going to share that's popping up, and I don't know if I want to share it because I think it's a bit on the deep side, but I just might. What I would say is think about cell memories. Scientists, quantum scientists are telling us, Bruce Lipton tells us about cell memory. Just as people have in their cells the memory of family members that were lynched, and part of that trauma still lives in them because it's in their DNA. White people have in their cell memory their ancestors who really did believe that black people were less than human, and it's still in their DNA. So part of the healing is to shine the light of truth so that the healing can happen now. And the healing that we do now, which is the planting of the trees, becomes the shade for generations to come, our children. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. Love is the answer. It is the only way. I'm going to sign out again with John's song, We Matter. You can find out more about John's work by going to his website, John Stringer Inc., johnstringerinc.com. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. Peace and blessings.
Whoa, separation is insane. Have you fallen through the lights? Black, white, whatever, never a reason to despise. We're all part of the human race, one humanity, a truth we must face. If we don't learn to love each other, then we can't learn to forgive one another.